Whoopee, hi. Hey, Cole. How are you guys doing on this lovely Thursday afternoon? I know it has been a far too long of a time since I have been live. Hi, Rain. How are all you super adorable people doing today? My chat's very colorful this evening. Maddie, hi. We're back on the crystal grind, leveling up the Sour Patch. Gonna go get a haircut for our Chansey. We'll have to have some spaghetti. Ooh, you did mention spaghetti back on Kubi's stream. I forgot to buy spaghetti. I need to make myself a shopping list. Because there are like 5 things I'm out of. Drinking my health potion tea. That is wonderful to hear. Oh. Damn it. You guys didn't see anything. ADHD mouse actually pays attention when she presses buttons? No. We don't do that here. Cut the VOD! Sound a smidge quiet? Give me a sec. How's that? You see, my problem is, for some reason my fridge is back to doing that thing where it's really, really, really loud when the fan's running. And for some reason it'll go all day without running, and then as soon as I start streaming it starts up. And I feel like you guys can definitely hear it in the background, and it makes me really angry when I watch the VODs back. Fridge paid actor. I cannot stand it. It makes me feel like I'm so unprofessional. I mean, it's a good fridge other than that. It's like I can see the fucking audio capture when I stop talking bouncing up and down just a little bit because of the fridge fan in the background. And it makes me want to turn the audio back down. I just have to scream louder, I guess. Ah! Oh. Eh. Mouse phobic, actually. I know. See, I can't be mad at the fridge because that's where I keep all my cheese. So. Okay, where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Look at my music, Lucky Channel. There's Buena. When life gives you lemons, scream! Today's password is drowsy. That's me, I'm drowsy. Not really. Okay, I kid you not. And this isn't even for the bit or anything. I meant to start stream at 7:30. You know, because I wanted a little extra time to chill, vibe, do my Animal Crossing. And I made myself a little snack before stream. I bought some, tortilla chips. Just regular tortilla chips with just light salt on them. And I put them in my toaster oven at 350 and sprinkle a bunch of, like, shredded cheddar cheese over them. And, like, cook it for, like, maybe 2 or 3 minutes. Just enough where the cheese is all hot and melty. Oh, it is amazing. And it was so good. And I made it, and I was done at, like, 7:31. And I'm like, okay, time to start streaming. And then I wanted another plate of them, so I made another one. So I literally, the stream was late because cheese. Wow, another naked guy I've seen within an hour. Thank you so much for streaking, Cole. Wow, just like swinging back and forth there, damn. No, I didn't burn either of them because I was sitting there intently watching, waiting for my cheesy nachos to be ready. It's Drowsy! The mouse values cheese more than us. No! You guys definitely rank slightly higher above cheese. How many points we got? 1. Haha, 1! But yeah, Swoopy, it is heavenly. I actually use the Great Value Walmart brand chips because I'm a cheapskate, but I actually do buy Kraft. What cheesy does... Well, I'm cheesy. Does that count? Yeah. Why do you think you fit in so well here? Also, because of my house's weird layout, you can hear the fridge when it's running like that literally through the entire house. I have to shut the door in my bedroom to not hear it. Pudding's kind of like cheese. I mean, I guess so. They're both in the fridge. Saying that once again, thanks once again, because Breath of Fire 4 sprites, I missed it. The game is drop dead gorgeous. It is amazing. I love Breath of Fire 3, I love Breath of Fire 4. They're both getting streamed at some point, probably the first two. Okay, guys, throwing this out there, if you guys want to dabble in Breath of Fire, the first two Super NES games are literally on the Super Nintendo app for Switch. So if you have a Switch subscription, you can play Breath of Fire 1 and 2. Like, even at the just basic $20 level. Breath of Fire is an awesome series. At the very least, I hope Capcom gives us a Breath of Fire Legacy Collection sometime. Because, like, okay, I kid you not, when Dragon's Dogma was first announced back for the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3, I initially thought it was going to be a Breath of Fire revival. I mean, come on, doesn't Breath of Fire Dragon's Dogma sound like it would be a game in the series? I mean, you know, it was checking the boxes like RPG, Capcom, Dragons? No. I mean, I have nothing against Dragon's Dogma per se, I just wanted more Breath of Fire. It's very much a thing like that was on me, but like... Dragon Dog. That sounds adorable. Would pet and give treats. Which one's your favorite? Ryu, or Ryu? I actually like Ryu, which is surprising. I mean, Ryu and Ryu are still good. Man, Ryu's crazy, but I gotta go with Ryu. Or Ryu, as every kid without internet called him in the 90s. Unfollowed. Wow. Cancelled for my Ryu opinions. Also here, I'll get the real controversial opinion. I think Dragon Quarter is a really damn good game. Also, a lot of staff that worked on Dragon Quarter went on to work on Dead Rising, and they basically lifted the gameplay structure from Dragon Quarter to make Dead Rising. And everybody loves Dead Rising, everybody hates Dragon Quarter, and I'm like, why do you like this? Well, no, I joke. The reason why people love Dead Rising and dislike Dragon Quarter, despite a lot of similarities, is the framing. Because when somebody picks up a Breath of Fire game, they want a Breath of Fire game that's going to be similar, at least partially, to the first 4 games. Dead Rising's not only a new IP, but it's targeting a completely different audience, with realistic graphics. It released exclusively for Xbox 360 originally. And it stars, like, you know, it takes place in America and has an American protagonist, instead of being a fantasy thing with anime characters. Though it is crazy to me how much just changing the framing device completely changes people's attitude toward certain gameplay designs. Which, I mean, I guess that makes sense, but I feel like it's underrated how much context, imagine being American. Trust me, nobody does it on purpose. Yeah. Well, I love the character designs in Dragon Quarter, they're really good. Imagine Dragon. Fun fact, if you get 4 copies of Dragon Quarter, it'll be worth $1 dragon dollar. American Jake Long. Like, comment, subscribe if you're a long American. Brain thinking, brain thinking. It's Surge the Long American. Oh, Lieutenant Surge. My brain can't read lowercase letters. Please do not do that to the dyslexic. Fun random fact, a lot of stuff that was printed was actually done with like big metal stamps that were in 2 different cases. So the capital letters were stored in the higher case, and the small letters, which are used more because when you're typing something out, you only use 1 capital letter at the beginning of a sentence in English, were stored in a bottom case closer to your arm's reach. So the letters are called lowercase letters because they're literally in a lowercase. I know all your letters are lowercase, but that does not absolve me from having dyslexia. Why not? Yeah, I wish it worked that way. It's like that one Ed Sheeran song, Dyslexia. No, wait, I'm sorry, it goes, they're lesbians. Wow, Buffett. It's so funny because Wobbuffet's whole shtick is that his Japanese name Sonance can also sound like a turn of phrase saying more or less something, that's just how it is. And there's a certain comedian that was really popular in Japan that says that. And he puts his hand to his head when he says it. So that's why Wobbuffet does that. And it's completely lost in translation. That's why Team Rocket's Wobbuffet will just show up out of nowhere and say Wobbuffet when they say something. Wobbuffet. I mean, I think the gag still works on a different level. Items. You know, just because Wobbuffet's cool and charming and funny. which one's yellow again? Pink's love balls. Blue is the water balls. White's fast balls. Wobbuffet appeared so little in the Switch era that it barely feels like a Pokemon to me. I can kind of understand that, honestly. I mean, a part of me definitely appreciates the fact that, like, Game Freak doesn't sit here thinking about a Pokemon's anime popularity when they decide what's going to show up in the games or how it's going to be used. But it is really weird how iconic Wobbuffet is to the anime, that it appears pretty infrequently in the games, but I also feel like part of that is because Wobbuffet's very limited in what it can do gameplay-wise, especially when you're switching to other styles like Legends. See, that's why we should have got a Pokemon Legends Wooper and Pokemon Legends Marill or whatever. The Johto Legends games. They gave Delibird actual moves. I know, it's crazy. I mean, actually, Delibird was interesting because it could only learn Present, but unlike a lot of other single-move Pokemon, it could learn a lot of TMs and stuff. Though it is a little weird that Robo Future Delibird's, like, really powerful. Ilwu is my favorite ball. Moon? Those are not going to help me catch Entei. Also, the best Future Paradox design-wise. Yeah. I mean, it's one of the only ones I remember as far as the Paradox Pokemon. That one and Fluttermane. But I just really like Mischievous and Mismagius anyway. Iron Valiant probably shares the spot. Oh yeah, the Galadivore alike. Okay. I don't think Ilwu Apricorn's gonna do much for us because Entei does not evolve using a Burn Heal. I guess we'll just get him to make more, heavy balls. I mean, a Moonball should help Entei and use cause burn, so Burn Heal works, yeah. That's just me. I already did the fun facts about Kurt's balls. We know all about this man's balls. Especially the gay ones. Not a fan of harsh, craggy, or robot designs in media, so the iron ones are a hard sell to me. I understand. I don't know, I can never tell which Pokemon are gonna hit it off with me. I mean, I like cute and stuff, but like, I'm also a big lover of like Vanillite and Klinklang and freaking Knacklestack. I like Knackley especially because it looks like a mushroom from Super Mario. Focus him, come on. I'll be right back, okay? sorry, I heard something fall. But, I think it was just something I didn't stack neatly enough, because when I went over there, Dot was just sitting on the floor chilling, so... It's me, Wade, are you awake? The bug catching contest is at National Park today. Are you going, Mots? I'm trying to make up my mind. See you later! Yeah, I'm really excited to play the Gen 5 games sometimes specifically because, like, I haven't actually used a lot of Gen 5 mons in full playthroughs, just because there are so many cool ones I want to use. My whole teen years were spent playing Minecraft. Probably that made the Nacli line, like the Nacli line more than I would otherwise, using my first Scarlet and Violet playthrough. Chilling and waiting for my dad to get home so I can eat. I do remember a lot of people making Minecraft jokes about the Nacli line when Scarlet and Violet first came out. I know this may sound weird, but I actually do really appreciate that they're like Generation 9 Pokemon in ZA. I mean, I know, like, yeah, Scarlet and Violet were the most recent games until ZA came out, but, like, I was honestly concerned that the game was going to have nothing but the original Kalos decks. Not the Pokemon introduced in Kalos, but, like, only Pokemon that appeared up to Gen 6. Because honestly, like, that was my biggest disappointment with Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, more than anything, was not having any Pokemon from after Generation 4. Like, I can forgive Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee a little bit more for mostly just being Generation 1 Pokemon, because that game was kind of made to get people back into Pokemon if they were lapsed or if they'd only played Go. Alright, cuties, everybody grab your favorite sugar-free, caffeine-free beverage of choice. I got my water tumbler right here. And take a nice big sippy. Well, it's too far. Can you grab it? Yeah, Maddie, give me just a sec. I'll be there in a couple hours. I just put some chapstick on after drinking my water, and I think I clicked it shut too close to the mic. I'm very sorry for the chapstick shutting sound. I like how Dragonair's nose is drawn with a slight little upturn. Like in the back sprite. Honestly, the line work on the back sprite's really good. I feel like this back sprite doesn't get enough credit. Dragonair is an odd Pokemon in general as far as reception goes, in the way that I feel like not a lot of people really talk about or think about Dragonair a lot or really appreciate it that much, except the people that actually do appreciate it a lot and seem to pretty strongly dislike Dragonite. I do think it's cool that Mega Dragonite introduces a lot more Dragonair-like features into its design. But I don't know, it's like, there are definitely games coming out in 2026 that I'm excited to play at some point, but I feel like for this year, I've just been super into either playing my backlog or replaying games that I really love. I love Dragonair's winged ears, same reason why I love Wartortle. Okay, I see how it is. We've got a Hyantia kisser in the chat, you guys. Just look up Melia from Xenoblade Games, or Uni if you don't know what I'm talking about. After April 16th, I think I'm good with until Weewa. Well, I mean, to be fair, Maddie, like, I'm one of those people who just wants to play, like, all these different video games and stuff. You are a person who will get a video game and dig your heels into it for literal years. That's not a bad thing, it's just different ways that people play games. Nuh-uh. Maddie, you still send me screenshots from 3DS games occasionally. Who does? I mean, you! Oh! Also, really fun fact, on my desk right now, beside my Switch games, I have 2 amiibos. I have Ness from Earthbound and the Link's Awakening Link. I have the Jack-specific Ice Flower Mario, and then I have the 1990 McDonald's Happy Meal toys of Raccoon Mario and Luigi with a Power Star. Love my bird feather aesthetics. Nina from Breath of Fire 4 is also. It's like, I have such a difficult time with Breath of Fire 3 and 4 in the way that, like, I cannot decide which one I love more, because I grew up with Breath of Fire 3, and aside from watching one of my friend's older brothers play Breath of Fire 4 for maybe like half an hour, I didn't really ever get to experience Breath of Fire 4 at all until it came out for PlayStation 3 digitally. So, like, I have more familiarity and nostalgia for Breath of Fire 3, but holy shit, Breath of Fire 4 is so good. Especially the character designs in 4. Just the whole aesthetic, the vibe. Maybe I should buy Breath of Fire 4 for Wit specifically, because I think she would really love Cray. I mean, it's $5. Breath of Fire 4's for everyone. I'm gonna spend my life savings buying everybody I know Breath of Fire. There's no escape. Picked up Breath of Fire 4 on a whim on PS3 and fell in love with the same thing with Chrono Cross. Dude, the PlayStation 1 games, like, there are, like, 300 or 400 of them on PlayStation 3 digitally, and it was such an amazing thing. Like, I still have my PS3 hooked up. Joke's on you, I already have Breath of Fire. Yeah, that's because you're based as hell. We know this already, Rain. I mean, granted, getting you to play something besides coveted indie roguelike with card, difficult, but I'm glad at least that you do own it. But yeah, like, my PlayStation 3 is still hooked up, and while I do occasionally play a PS3 game on it, it largely exists to be an HDMI-equipped PS1 jukebox. And that's not an insult, I love the PS1, you guys. It is pretty much my favorite console of all time, though I will say I think the Switch might be tied with it. A part of me wants to say, oh, maybe that's recency bias, but I don't think it is, because the Switch is almost 10 years old. And it's like, even whenever I get a Switch 2, there's a valid possibility I might use it just for playing Switch 2 games and keep buying everything on Switch 1. Now, playing a real classic, Tomba, followed by Klonoa. Okay, that's also based as hell. Honestly, I think it is wonderful that both Tomba and Klonoa are just available on every modern platform now. Actually, I don't think Tomba got an Xbox release. Oops. For all 7 of you modern Xbox players out there. See, the weirdest thing is usually it's Japanese games that don't get Xbox releases. But with the Carbon Engine stuff, that's developed, I think, in the United States. I mean, the original game's Japanese. But I think the Carbon Engine remasters are all developed in the US, so it's really weird to me that they don't get Xbox releases, because, like, the, I think the Gex trilogy did, but with Rocket Knight Adventures remaster, I think that was only PlayStation, Nintendo, and Steam. The Rocket Knight Adventures Resparked. Mouse yawn. Because I actually, like, Klonoa is one of those games I always wanted to play, but I didn't actually play through it and beat it the first time, I think, until 2021 or 2022. I think it was 2021. But yeah, it was such a joy. It's weird because I'd owned it in my PlayStation library for so long. I think before I had a PS3. I think I originally downloaded it on my PSP. But it was one of those games where I was just like... I have this really bad habit. I don't have this bad habit as much anymore, but I had this really bad habit when I was younger, especially in the the late 2000s, early 2010s, where I would just feel like I wasn't, quotation marks, ready for a game. So I would have this thing where I'd just, like, not start things, or I'd play the first level and be like, oh, I don't think I can play through this yet. And which, like, okay, maybe kind of, sort of, if it's a long RPG that you know is going to be a long commitment. But, like, dude, you can finish Klonoa in, like, 2 hours. Not an insult. It's okay for a platformer to be 2 or 3 hours. That's fine. Because, you know, the long-term values in the replay and perfecting and, like, collecting all the gems and stuff. I love going back to old games. My brain's just like, hey, what if this is your new obsession? You know, there was definitely, like, a handful of months in 2022 when Secret of Mana, like the original Super NES Secret of Mana, was just my entire personality. Though I would say, like, one of my best ever, like, gaming months was January of 2022. Because that was the first time January 2022, I beat Aria of Sorrow for the first time. Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu a week later. And there was, like, a third game I also beat, like, near the end of that month that I don't remember off the top of my head. But it's like, I felt like I was on fire, dude. I felt so powerful. Because, you know, there are some people out there who, I don't know if they're either far more or far less neurodivergent than me, depending on how the pendulum's going. But, they'll, like, complete, like, 30 games a year, and at least, you know, like, and about a third of them will be, like, 60-hour RPGs. And I'm like, I feel so bad, because aside from replays, I feel like I struggle to beat, like, 10 a year. Yeah, us getting Trials of Mana was freaking sick. That and Sonic Mania I was obsessed, and then Encore came out. Got to see that firsthand. Yeah, you did, Maddie, because remember when I was doing the playthrough, since you can name your characters in Secret of Mana, I named the sprite Maddie because they're canonically non-binary. You see, one of those secret things that people don't really ever seem to notice, despite both games' popularity, is that Chrono and Marley are just Akira Toriyama redesigning Randy and Prim from Secret of Mana. Moved to Telegram. You know, I always feel like it's a lot earlier. I feel like we've been using Telegram forever. But then again, though, I remember, like, dude, it's so weird. We were using Twitter for, like, 2 or 3 years as our main source of communication. That's... Telegram just feels like our safe little spot together. But then again, prior to 2020, you know, Twitter, it was still kind of bad, but it wasn't the miserable, unusable hellscape that it has become since 2022. But he had established place to go before any of that went down. Yeah, for sure. I don't know, like, Telegram's so clean and elegant and easy to use. It's a good messaging app. Please don't fuck it up, Telegram. $37. I'm 37. Well, that's a lot of 66s. Okay, look, my experience points are 63636. And 4 of my stats are 66. Are you trying to tell me something, Dragonair? Been noticing that, oh yeah, the stupid AI button. I hope they get rid of that, like, bleh. I mean, thankfully it's not doing anything generative. It just seems to be, like, trying to do proofreading and stuff for you, but Sour Patch loves the 60s. Very groovy. You know, that reminds me of something that really fucked me up because of my sense of time. The Sonic 3 movie, you know, that came out, I think, a year or 2 ago, is an adaptation of Sonic Adventure 2. Partially. And in Sonic Adventure 2, everything with Maria and the Ark takes place, quotation marks, 50 years ago. And so I'm watching the movie, and with a flashback with Shadow and Maria, you know, it has Maria decorating her stuff with things from the 70s, and it's playing, like, a song from the 70s, and I'm like, this is way off, you know, like, shouldn't it be stuff from the 1950s? And I'm like, no, Micaiah. 50 years ago was the 1970s. I'm like, oh, I don't like that. Because, like, as a 90s and 2000s kid, I'm like, no, 50 years ago is the 50s. Or, yeah, the rapid aging gif. Ages into dust. Fucking the Atari 2600 is going to be 50 next year. The idea of a video game console being half a century old is fucking with my head. Though it did bring up one really depressing thing, well, not depressing per se, but one really kind of sad thing about the game industry lately that Taco brought up is why it doesn't feel like we get big games for anniversaries anymore, is because as long as game development cycles are, every game is basically an anniversary game now. Because, you know, most games celebrate anniversaries on the 5s. Though also one of the funniest was in 2006, Capcom released a 3-pack of Devil May Cry 1, 2, and 3 for PS2. And it was the 5th anniversary limited edition. And I don't know why, but something about having a special edition come out for your 5th anniversary for a game was really funny to me. The Wii turns 43 next year. I can still remember playing Wii Sports when I was a pre-zygote. Now I'm just the goat. Isn't it weird to think we were all a Reuniclus at one point? A single cell would definitely fit into a Wii. Well, I mean, yeah, like, Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 2 was like a launch window title that has Cell in it. Okay. I went to college! A Cell Jr. also, see? Oh, little Jork in it, Geodude. Choose your fighter, Jorkany Geodude or Boob Grab Graveler. Like, imagine having a tall GF and you have to reach up like that to, like, fondle her. I'm imagining it right now. It's like you just lay against her tummy and it's super warm. Jorkany Geodude's the name of an indie rock band that performed in my town last year. Yeah, with their first hit album, Getting Your Rocks Off. The dream. And Getting Your Rocks Off hit single, I'm Gonna Miss You Baby, parenthesis, because Rock Slide only has 85% accuracy. Rock My Way. Rock and roll out. Wait a minute, damn it, I don't think you can actually see a golem in this game. I wanted to look at Golem's animation. Oh, wait, okay. But I don't think it'll show the animations since I haven't caught one. No, back. Oh no, it doesn't show the animations in the Pokedex at all. Fisher, I miss you every time. They have an album called Magnitude. The song lists Magnitude 4, Magnitude 5, Magnitude 6. The thing is, it's always random, so you never know which magnitude you're gonna get when you put the CD in. Okay, like, non-jokingly, I'm not saying this in a boomer kind of way, But how many of you actually, like, actively still listen to CDs? I'm curious. This is an honest question, not a sarcastic one. I sometimes like to pop CDs into my PlayStation 3 and just vibe. It's kind of nice being able to listen to music and not have it be in the context of having to have, like, YouTube or something else that's internet connected on. I don't know, it just feels like it's freer and more mine. Listen to vinyl. Yeah, vinyl. Okay, let's just, not just CDs, like vinyl, cassettes, like, let's say you just listen to a physical music. I was too young and beautiful to have any CD thing that I owned. Ha, joke's on you, you're still young and beautiful. I have a CD player, I like listening to some older stuff on it. I do appreciate that pretty much every album still gets CD and vinyl releases now. Because, I don't know, I don't feel like Spotify or YouTube Music have taken over music listening as much as people like to doom that it has. I mean, it's definitely prevalent. It's probably still the most used way to stream music right now, but I think it's more that more people are listening to music than used to. So it feels like more people are using streaming services, but I mean, the vinyl and CD sales have got to still be pretty strong. And I know back when I used to work at a place that sold electronics, because we had CDs and vinyl, we'd still get people coming in, even younger people, asking for the record, asking for the CD, asking who would get it in. I had the Pokemon the movie on cassette. I would listen to Don't Say You Love Me and get in my feels. Don't say you love me, you don't even know me. If you really want me, then give me some time. We had an MP3 player, but I think it was my brother's. I used it once when I was younger than 7, and that's it. That and, like, an issue Maddie and I have both run into a lot listening to music on YouTube is, uploads of game music and stuff will just get yoinked, and there's nothing you can do about it. Agility! Do I want agility? No. Also, I have the limited edition of Final Fantasy 13-2. That comes with the 2 CD soundtrack, so every once in a while, I just put it in the PS3 and I'm like, let me be the one to ride this chocobo! Luckily, it's been a while since any track on my playlist has been taken down. Agility. Agility. I mean, Agi is a fire-type spell, so it makes sense that it would be lit. Crazy Chocobos. It's an amazing track. I love it so much. Like, Final Fantasy 13-2... I'm sorry, guys, I'm about to go on a whole rant about Final Fantasy 13 trilogy. Final Fantasy 13, with no spoilers, actually has a really good ending that wraps everything up. So for 13-2, the game starts by, don't really use YouTube for music or playlists, specifically just individual songs. I understand that. But in 13-2, they established that the ending for Final Fantasy 13, the way the original game ends, is an alternate universe that only Sarah, Lightning's younger sister, remembers. Which, like, okay, I guess that this is a way to have more conflict happen without ruining the ending of the first game. But the thing that bothers the hell out of me about Final Fantasy 13-2 and Lightning Returns is this bizarre elevation of Lightning from a cool, badass soldier type who really loves her sister and hides her emotional depth behind her stoicism into some kind of bizarre scion, super legendary, like, almost deified character in the narrative just does not feel natural for her character whatsoever. But on the other hand, Final Fantasy 13 2 is a really fucking good game just as a video game. It gives you so much freedom, so many options. Sarah and Noah are charming as hell. And so, like, I can't ever be mad at Final Fantasy 13 2 because it literally confronted every major criticism about Final Fantasy 13 and fixed it. Yeah, Spotify I was never super big on anyway. Something about it always rubbed me the wrong way, and then when they started doing AI shit, I'm like, ah. My bizarre hunch was completely vindicated. Feels good to be right about everything. Why did I do that when I have extreme speed? Wait, okay. Thinking with my brain mind. You know, maybe I need to get those big fluffy audio dampeners or something. Not for me, but like, or pop filter maybe for my mic? I don't know. I'm probably thinking into spend way too much money territory. Well, I love some wet audio. But okay, you know those big fluffy things you put on the wall? Granted, my house doesn't really have big bouncy acoustics anyway. Fuck. Double fuck. Sound foam, yes. Bruh. Took one step outside of the Pokemon Center, now it's time to go back to the Pokemon Center. But I remembered I have extreme speed. Because, like, the reason I'm thinking about the sound foam is hoping that it would just make my mic not pick up any background sounds. Because, you know, aside from the refrigerator, even when it's not deciding to be incredibly loud, I do live in a neighborhood, and I have neighbors that have things they like to do. And I have zero problem with that. I am one of those people who is not at all ever bothered by my neighbors making noise or doing whatever they want to do, you know, as long as they're not, like, going super crazy with it or something. So, you know, if they want to play their music or something like that, whatever. But, you know, I still don't want all that noise on stream if they are deciding to do something. Because I feel like when you start hearing stuff in the background besides just adorable cat, it does get to be a little bit of a distraction and takes you out of just, you know, the magical mouse voice on your screen. I'm sorry, I probably should not talk tech on all that stuff when I'm streaming. I feel like my one secret weakness is I'm a little too transparent. The neurodivergent need to openly and honestly expose literally every information. Open book and I like reading. Ooh. Hey, are you guys getting double audio from the game or anything? Like, if there's anything at all like that, even if it's, like, a tiny thing, just let me know. I am probably worrying way too much about literally every aspect of everything. It's all good. Okay. Hi, Todd.
Hello, this is Todd. Mats, sorry to call you so late. My Psyduck's looking more and more like me. It's getting even cuter. And, you know, we just failed to beat Hoothoot by a tiny margin. I'm guessing my Pokemon's levels aren't high enough yet. See you later.
I don't know, I think the silly conversations in Crystal and Emerald are actually really cute, because, like, I feel like the little trainers whose numbers you get are actually your buddies. Like, they're not just always calling you up for a gameplay reason. I don't know. Okay, I feel like... I guess I'm going on another rant. That's what you guys get tonight. You get cozy grinding and rants. I feel like there's this weird optimization culture around media fandoms right now. Probably outside of that, too. You know, like Rise and Grind and all that stupid shit. But it's like... stuff that isn't important to, like, the plot or gameplay relevant. People just want to skip it. You know... But it's like, that's where the world building and the charm and the fun and the time spent hanging out with your characters comes from. It's like, I think... And I've brought this up before, and I'm not going to go into any super deep spoilers, but, like, I think that's one of the big things with, like, if you go to Trigun 1998 versus the recent Stampede and Stargaze, is, like, Stargaze crams, like, almost every plot point it can from a manga that ran for 10 years into 12 episodes. And even though the first season, which is also 12 episodes, is kind of a prequel to any of the stories told in the manga or whatever, though it incorporates stuff from the manga as well in the first one, you never really get to hang out with the characters. And it's weird because they'll call back to or imply things that definitely existed in the manga, and subsequently existed in Trigun 98. Or hell, there's been at least twice when they called back to stuff that's not in the manga, that is in 98, that does not appear in Stargazer Stampede whatsoever. It's like, only plot-relevant stuff allowed, it's just that you've taken away all the fun and whimsy. Exactly. But it's like, it still comes from this weird subculture, people just wanting to skip filler and like making fucking episode guides to skip what would be qualified as a filler episode. And I'm like, if you're gonna fucking optimize the time you spend on your entertainment, just take up knitting or something, man. Which, like, I guess I shouldn't try to police how people engage with their entertainment, and I understand being busy and not wanting to waste time, but I feel like people who are obsessed with not, quotation marks, wasting time on their media that they engage with are also the people who spend, like, 4 hours a day, or unintentionally spend 4 hours a day doom scrolling or something. Hobby maxing, yeah. It's like people throw away so much time and don't even notice they're doing it, and I'm guilty of it too. And I really am trying to get myself in a better pattern. Only piece of media I might do that with is probably One Piece, and then probably just read the manga. Yeah, like at that point, read the manga. Which, like, I understand, like, my problem with One Piece is I would really like to sit down with it as a book. But I do not, I literally don't think I have space in my house to own the entirety of One Piece in paperback. Because I think One Piece's biggest issue that for a lot of people it makes it so intimidating is it is both a long-running series and one where everything is important, even the stuff that doesn't look like it is. Because a lot of other long-running series like the Pokemon anime, which that has continuity but kind of resets every season, and you can kind of get the gist of what happened in other seasons if you need to look it up real quick. Because usually nothing more than the gist is what you need. I'm so sorry for all my headphone users for the screech there. And with something like The Simpsons or Family Guy, they've been running forever, but they have no continuity and nothing that happens in any episode matters. So a lot of times you'll just watch it if it happens to be on TV, or you'll go look up an episode that wonder where a meme came from. With One Piece, there's not really a lot that's skippable. Though I did have something in my head a long time ago, because, anime filler isn't really much of a thing anymore. They just take seasonal breaks, which is much better for the studios and animators, and I'd rather they do that. Because, the reason filler existed in general is because both the manga and the anime were weekly products, but the manga only put out about 15 pages or 20 pages a week, where the anime had to have a 22-minute episode every week. So, without stretching things out miserably like Frieza Saga Dragon Ball, you're not going to get 22 minutes out of 15 pages. Especially if they're action sequence pages, because that could be adapted into, maybe a minute and a half. Because, page count is king, so if you have a full page spread, which would be, maybe up at most 20 seconds of staring at a single image of a character, that's 1/15 of the entire manga for that month, or that week, adapted into 10 to 20 seconds of animation. But something I had always thought about, back in the day, writing manga, which I always thought would be funny, is, if I was in charge of it, if they had, a filler arc that added, new characters, I would absolutely just incorporate some of the filler characters into the manga with no explanation to fuck with people. Which, I mean, I kind of joke, but Pokemon does this a little bit, where they actually will occasionally name drop the movies or things that happened in the movies. Big old Tiffany, my goat! Did you guys not watch the Big Old Tiffany arc? But, yeah, because, in the Pokemon anime, Gary ends up fighting Giovanni with Mewtwo and not getting that gym badge because he gets his butt kicked. But then Mewtwo flies away and stuff and sheds the armor. And that's never resolved in the series proper. That's resolved in the Mewtwo movie. And it's super funny because if you're only watching the anime and you don't really have an awareness of the movies or you don't plan on watching them, then Mewtwo just shows up, kicks Gary's ass, gets mad at Giovanni, leaves, and that just never gets resolved. Still not as bad as the GS ball, though. I'm still mad about that, 20-something years later. 27 years later. Also, there's a two-part episode about Team Rocket trying to kidnap a Lugia and its baby. And they actually do bring up the fact that they had met a Lugia before in the Orange Islands. Which, once again, you know, obviously the Pokemon 2000 movie doesn't actually happen in the series proper. So you'd be going back through the Orange Island episodes being like, when the hell did they see a Lugia? Though I do like them establishing the legendaries aren't one of a kind. I feel like that's been a point, it's still like a point of confusion to this day that the legendaries are canonically supposed to only have one exist. Because like, there's the movie Genesect. I don't remember the full name of the movie, but it's the Genesect movie from Gen 5. And it actually has a different Mewtwo than the one that's in the first two movies. Because the Mewtwo from the first movie, and it also has another movie that was like direct to DVD, but it is also really good, Mewtwo Returns, because it actually squares away everything with Giovanni and his involvement. Not to mention five Genesect and a new Mewtwo, and people were livid that Mewtwo was different, and double livid that the Mewtwo was feminine. They thought that the original Mewtwo was being retconned out of existence, and because keep in mind, people were already mad at the Gen 5 anime because it kind of had soft reboot energy, even though it shows all of Ash's trophies from the first 4 regions as one of the first things you see. Congrats on her transition. I mean, I wouldn't mind being built like Mewtwo. Not so sure about the neck thing, but hey, you know, like... Actually, I think canonically Mewtwo has the thing on the back of its head like that is basically a second spine because its brain makes its head too heavy to be held up by its neck. What about the 3 ball fingers? Listen, we gotta make sacrifices to have a fat ass. And learning Lugia's theme on an ocarina would be amazing, Rain. That'd be so cool. TMNT are still cool with 3 ball fingers. You know, I actually do have the Cowabunga collection. I would love to stream the TMNT games. I've never actually finished any of them, even the shorter arcade ones. Not because I don't like them or anything, it's just like, I didn't really have them growing up. Also, the games, like, a lot of the games are really fucking hard with one player. But I mean, if I'm sitting there streaming it, you know, I'll take a couple hours trying to actually, like, challenge myself to do it. Because I think, like, streaming definitely helps me want to finish stuff. Because, you know, I can't just, like, say, ah, fuck this, and go watch YouTube videos instead. I mean, I can, but that would be a really lame stream. Because, like, honestly, and I feel like this is what got me to where I have, like, a good attitude for streaming anyway. I've mentioned before that Mom and I played a lot of games together, and I would still have, like, a lot of the ADHD's, like, distraction and stuff, and she'd be like, hey, let's play Dark Cloud, or, you know, let's play, you know, more Twilight Princess. We didn't finish Twilight Princess yet. We need to find the rest of the pose. You know, she'd want to play it, and she'd be motivated, and so even if I didn't feel like playing that game, or didn't feel like playing any games in general, I'd be like, okay, Mom, we can play for, like, at least an hour. And then, of course, we'd end up playing for longer than that, but... You know, she motivated me to finish a lot of games. Like, I'm kind of, you definitely do help me a lot in that same way, Maddie. Yeah, but you're right, once you start streaming a game, you do feel obligated to finish it. And also, guys, I do want to say I have not forgotten about Resident Evil, Mega Man 3, Parasite Eve, Dark Cloud. I am going to come back to all of those. I just apologize. The last few months have been really rough for me, like, mentally and physically in a lot of ways, because I've been just suffering from a lot of exhaustion and stuff like that. And it's easier for me to play Pokemon than it is to play a lot of other games, because they're so familiar. I don't really have to super concentrate. Though the Game Boy stream was something fun I've really wanted to do, and I might do something like that for other super short games that I still want to play on Steam. Good. Take your time, come back to them when you feel like you're able to. I definitely want to pick up Parasite Eve where I was, but I was debating just starting Resident Evil 1 over from the beginning again. Because none of the PS1 Resident Evils are particularly long. They're made to be replayable. That, and I'm also partially debating it because I might, instead of using the emulator, because I didn't even have my capture card when I played it back in October. No idea where you even left off. I still vaguely remember some of it, but like with Parasite Eve, I have a pretty good memory for that game because it's a linear RPG anyway. But with Resident Evil, it's so short, we could probably just start it from the beginning. So I was thinking of, instead of using the emulation for my PC, just playing it on PS5 and hooking that up to my capture card. Because the original Resident Evil 1 and 2 on PS1 are available on PS4 and PS5 digitally. And I have them because if you buy them on PS3 and have them in your PS3 library, you just get the PS4 and 5 versions for free. Which makes me really, really wish they would put Parasite Eve 1 and 2 on PS4, because they actually did release them digitally on PlayStation 3. Like, I wasn't joking when I said the PlayStation 3, one of its greatest strengths is being a PS1 jukebox. Oh, also, I haven't forgotten about Final Fantasy V either, don't worry. But what I really want to do, and I think I've mentioned this on Steam before, is kind of like have it to where we focus on like one RPG and one action game at a time. And by action game, I mean it could be like a platformer, a hack and slash, something like Resident Evil. You know, like basically like a big game where we're doing lots of questing, and then a smaller game where we, you know, it's focused more on like a smaller, shorter game. More response time focused stuff like that. But I mean, honestly, I love streaming so much that I really wish I could do it like 5 or 6, no, not 6, but I wish I could do it like 5 days a week or something. Or at least 4, but that's just so difficult with job, especially as mentally fatiguing as it can be. Give me a sec. I'm fine. Dot just came running at maximum velocity through the hallway into my desk, and she took down my PS1, my Wii U gamepad, and about 3 PS2 games. Both Dot and everything that she took down are just fine. I know she's just fine because she's pawing at my face while I'm trying to talk into the mic. Standard criminal behavior, basically. She's clinically nuts, yeah. Well, the thing is, the spot on my desk where I set the PS1 is not the usual spot where I have it. I have it in a different spot, and I moved it because my phone's plugged into a charging block, and I had my phone set in front of me. And I was also using that spot for, like, using my computer mouse. Well, Dot, I'm trying to speak. Please stop stepping on my face. But she, the spot was vacant. And I don't think she was even paying attention to if there was anything on there. She just came in running and jumping to that spot. The criminal must crime. Dot, give me just a sec. I'm barely wearing anything. Okay, I now have a blanket and I am cat compliant. And she obviously must be petted right now. There's no other option. I mean, sure, she was just chilling, sitting on the floor, took a nice nap, ate some food. But it's like, when she needs to be petted, it's like, she must. The parasites tell her she needs pets. It's that mitochondria. The perhapsachondria. Also, she is exclusively interested in the hand I am touching the controller with, not the free hand I set aside to pet her. Because, as I'm sure you guys are aware, it's pretty easy to play the old Pokemon games with just one hand, since it's all either menus or walk-in and pressing confirm or whatever. And with the size of the GameSir controller here, I can pretty much just, like, spread one hand across the controller. Kinda like a keyboard. I guess I'm a mouse and keyboard after all. Ow, 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 claws in my face. Ow, ow, please stop that. Criminal got a crime. She has officially lost interest in me now. She went to cuddle into a ball on my Dragon Ball Z t-shirt that I had set on the couch that I need to wash later. Oh, hi, welcome back, Dot. Kitten, why do you like this? Once again, I cut a worthless object. I don't need the... Say, oh, get the best viewers on blah 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 website. I already have the best viewers. Ow, Dot, why are you headbutting me? I'm trying... Ow, Dot. Please calm down. This is Dot's stream now, you guys. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna go to bed. Dot's playing really well. Yeah, she's playing me. She had to take a little break from continually tackling me so she could lick herself, so I'm free for a moment at least. But no, it is like just the right temperature in my house right now to where no amount of clothing is comfortable. Because I have just like, I'm wearing just a little bit of clothes and I don't feel like I'm warm enough, but if I put on anything else, I feel way too hot. I don't know, for me, these temperatures always make it really hard to sleep, because it's not cool enough to cuddle under your blankets, but it's too cold to not have any blankets. Also, I'm not going to consider this a spoiler because it was in the official marketing material and stuff, but an interesting thing is that apparently Fox McCloud is in the new Super Mario Galaxy movie. Now, granted, going by the promotional stuff and the McDonald's Happy Meals, there's apparently a lot going on in this movie because it's got shit from, like, aside from Mario Galaxy, it's also got shit from, like, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and it's got Fox McCloud in it. And I'm like, it's a lot for one movie, but no, I'm just kind of hoping that Fox being in this movie will increase interest in Star Fox, and maybe we can get a new game. Granted, I know if we get a new game, it's probably just going to be another remake of Star Fox 64, because literally Star Fox is alongside Lunar, where half of the game releases are just retelling the first game again. It's definitely been a warmer day here. First time in a long time where I can't justify wearing pants over shorts. I've seen even more things that I won't spoil. I feel like it's a tad misleading to call it a Mario Galaxy movie. I was kind of getting that vibe. But hey, it did get us Mario Galaxy 2 on the Switch, and the original Mario Galaxy is a permanently purchasable product excuse me, on the Switch, so I'm not gonna complain. Because you see, what I've always wanted from Star Fox, I've seen a few people like it, Maddie, so I feel like it's getting a mixed reception, which is a shame, because the first one was pretty universally liked for being, you know, a pretty good swing at a Super Mario Brothers movie. But yeah, I've seen a lot of negativity. I've seen some positivity. But like, if I had to guess, as someone who has not seen it and has only seen the promotional materials and the Happy Meal toys and some other stuff, I feel like it just probably suffers from trying to cram too much in one movie syndrome, where, like, no element really gets to breathe. But what I've always wanted from a Star Fox game is it's like, I know a lot of you are probably not familiar with the Star Ocean games, but with Star Ocean The Last Hope, in that game, you get your own spaceship, and you can go to different planets and, like, explore them and stuff. And I've always thought it would be amazing to have a Star Fox game, because I really like what they did with Star Fox Adventures. Not necessarily the entirety of how it was executed, but the concept of an action RPG in the Star Fox universe I always thought was really cool. And I would like to do more exploration of the universe. But I know that I feel like almost everybody does not think of Star Fox as a game with an amazing universe that they want to explore and learn more about the characters. They think of it as a game where you are in a ship and you are shooting things on rails. Thought people were joking about Star Fox being involved. I mean, if you're gonna introduce Fox McCloud into a Mario movie, one that is Mario Galaxy themed makes sense. I really wish they could have saved it as a secret. so it could have been a shock to people watching it in theaters. An open/semi-open world Star Fox game would be cool to see. I mean, they could still have, like, parts of it that are on-rail shooting stages. I mean, hell, honestly, a Star Fox game with the Kingdom Hearts formula could really work. You know, you have the on-rail shooting stages, and then when you get to a planet, you know, you have an action RPG or something. Super Star Fox 64, I'd be down. I really like games where I can meander. Yeah, me too. I have started to realize more and more that I like games where I can just run around and be there. Which, like, of course, those aren't the only kinds of games I like, but I've realized a lot of my favorites. Because I think that's one of the best things with Pokemon, and one of its biggest strengths, even from all the way back in Red and Blue, is not that you can just run around and be in the world, but after you beat the game, you can just play forever. Which, like, I know that probably sounds pretty obvious now to just let you keep playing forever. But in the 90s, that wasn't really that common. There are a lot of games where, like, your last save would be before the final boss, and it wouldn't save the game again after you beat it. So you could go beat the game, but you could never really explore the post-beat-the-game world. You could just go fight the final boss. Like, you could backtrack. Most of them would let you backtrack out of the final dungeon. And just let you go run around some more. Though, there are a handful of games where once you go into the final dungeon, you cannot leave. And it also won't spit you back out after you beat the game, so your save is just eternally in that final dungeon, and you can't do anything else without starting over from the beginning. That I don't like. And there are a handful of games that do that. Mostly in, like, the pre-PlayStation 2 era. But there are still a handful that do, and I do not like that. I came in here to fight Gravelers, and I am finding a very small number of Gravelers. We need more rocks in our diet, right? Hard to find a special kind of rock in a cave. Wonder if there are other edible rocks that no one's tried yet. Throughout all of human history, I feel like there's been a chance that at least one person has tried to eat literally everything. The way I frame that is as one singular person going around eating everything, but, like, salt can't be the only one. But there's also sea salt. So maybe there are a lot of edible rocks, but they all ended up getting called salt. I knew what you meant, but thinking it was one single person's very funny. That's definitely the thought that went through my head. There's old eat everything George. What are you munching on today, George? Oh yeah, you know how he is. Kirby kind of person, yeah. That would be Snorlax. To take off for the night, the EPs claim me, and I have a long day of job tomorrow. Snorlax isn't a person, well, they're based on one. But Rain, you have a wonderful night. I hope you get a very good restful sleep, and I hope your job day goes by super duper fast, and then you get home and have a lot of fun playing Breath of Fire 4 on PC via Steam. I mean Slay the Spire, tee. Good night. Night Rain. Night Rain? Elden Ring reference? You know Seepin really hasn't streamed in a while. Granted, I feel like when the season switched over from winter to spring, everybody's been feeling like shit for a while now. I felt extremely tired for a week straight. Me too. Like, tired, achy, in weird ways and stuff. I'm still kind of achy all over a little bit. But I was absolutely determined to stream today. Like, I feel so bad going for 7 days without streaming. Which I know it's not that big of a deal. But I still felt really bad about it. And not because I feel like I owe you guys or it's some kind of obligation. It's just I like streaming and it's a thing I love to do and I want to play the games that I've been streaming and I'm just like... And it fucking sucks to come home from job and feel like shit. Especially if I come home from job and end up taking a nap because then I wake up at like 8 or 9 at night and it feels like all I did that day was go to work. And then I have to go to work tomorrow, so it feels like I've just wasted a day of my life, which I know that's not true. And there are plenty of productive things I do at work by not actually doing my job while I'm at work, like playing Pokemon Yellow Cramorant Edition on my phone. Or just, you know, thinking about new ideas or writing something down or messaging Maddie. Which, like, a lot of that stuff can help me out a lot. I was excited when you're streaming. Yay! I'm glad. I really am. Because honestly, Maddie, I'm sure I've mentioned this before, but you are a big motivator. Because, like, I kid you not, I pretty much assumed from the start that it was just me streaming games directly to you. So just showing you a lot of the games I like kind of was my starting motivation. Well, I mean, I'd always kind of wanted to stream, but I just figured I wasn't whatever enough, wasn't ready enough, wasn't loud enough, wasn't talented enough, wasn't insert your random insecurity that comes with being neurodivergent enough. No one's ever perfect enough to start streaming. People who've been streaming since forever still aren't. I know. And that's the thing, is like, even people who've been doing this for like a decade plus will still have the same shitty-ass tech issues and random stuff and mess up while they're playing a game or say something doofy they didn't mean to say, you know. So it's not like you become some super-powered human. It's like, it's the human connection thing. Yeah, I know what you mean. Love to see you guys. Ooh, thank you, Cole.
Okay, what level we at? 43. Over 100,000 experience points. I feel like people do lose track of the human connection being important. Because, like, even if there's not, people will make a human connection, and that becomes a real problem when there's not an actual human on the other side. As toxic as stuff like, parasocial relationships can be, it gets even worse when that parasocial relationships with a machine. That's why I hate, like, a lot of the AI-generated YouTube channels and stuff, besides the obvious reasons of hating AI-generated shit, is, like, if there's no human on the other side doing it, nothing matters. Seeing all the people that's with chat are here is really sweet to see. Love seeing people who so supportive. Bestie, oh, Maddie, thank you. And I am super happy for everybody that comes by because, like, yeah, you might know me from Wits chat and stuff, or just be friends outside of it, but, like, that doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna show up to my streams. You don't have to, you know. But the fact that people choose to come by and sit here and hang out with me, either in the background while they're playing their games or working on art or whatever, or, you know, chat and stuff in here, it means a lot to me. When people pivot to streams to be more of a character, it also kind of puts me off watching them. I don't know, because, like, I mean, I'm definitely going to be having a funny anime mouse girl on Steam as an avatar of myself, but I don't know how much of that's really a character and how much of it is just me being more of myself, because, like, the whole idea and design of Mots in general was just my love and obsession with video games turned into a physical character design, basically. But I mean, it's like Wit slash Kubi, like, she's still pretty much just Wit, just with a funny cat girl on the screen. Like, she didn't really change anything about herself or try to play a character with her streams. She's just herself. Dang, so I guess I can't be a full shonen protag. Cole, you already are. Well, sort of. You see, the part that you don't get is that you're a comedy harem protagonist. I'm sorry. The concept of VTubers first made me nervous because of that, but at least in Wit's case, she's just her and probably more comfortable. Yeah, well, I mean, like, for Wit, me, and probably a lot of other people, it's a way to more be present as yourself. Without having to strain with things like camera or putting on makeup or just days when you don't feel good. Other VTubers who feel like a comfortable of themselves. Yeah. Well, that and, like, I feel like it's a big plus for a lot of trans people because sometimes you're, due to whether it's monetary limitations, legal limitations, you can't always physically express who you are inside. But you can have your character be the person that you feel like you are. Of course, but I can't know that, but it's a vibe thing, yeah. And I mean, like, I know there's one person who's very much the famous, online famous creator of Yu-Gi-Oh! The Abridged series, Little Karibo. He has a lot of issues with, like, anxiety and stuff, and none of this is a secret. He's openly discussed this in, like, video updates and stuff. He had a lot of issues with anxiety and being on camera and stuff like that, and
him, like, he basically commissioned a VTuber that is literally a Karibo, and it's super cute. It's not just the flat-out Yu-Gi-Oh! Karibo, it's got some fun design elements that are, like, unique to him and stuff. And he just became so much more comfortable doing, like, live talks and stuff like that and streams and all that because he didn't have to worry about being on camera and all the anxiety that comes with being you up there in a camera thing, you know? It's like it gives just enough of a layer to the point where, like, the mask helps you be yourself. Here's similar things for people who have fursuits. Gives them a big confidence boost. You know, when I wore a mask during COVIDs, it gave me a boost. Yeah, it does suck that a lot of people are trained from such a young age to constantly just be self-conscious. Though granted, like, especially if your birth gender doesn't match who you feel like you are inside, I feel like that multiplies a lot of self-presentation, self-confidence, anxiety issues, because, like, granted, I guess maybe this is speaking from experience, because, you know, when I leave the house, I have to pretend to be not necessarily a completely different version, but definitely a fan fiction version of myself. Though granted, I have managed to get away with carrying a purse for months and calling it a purse a few times, and no one said anything, so won't get to it here, but yeah, there's some self-esteem issues. It's actually really cool. It's one of my mom's purses. It's a white purse, and it's got, like, Pikachu, Meowth, Slowpoke, Psyduck, and, like, Bulbasaur, Charmander, and Squirtle. And I think Snorlax on it. It's got, like, their little heads. It looks a little bit like kind of how they did with Pokemon Shuffle. Though it's more in the traditional Pokemon art style. And it has a little, like, tiny coin purse that's a Pokeball that's attached to the chain. They had them at Walmart. And that's kind of been my go-to. It's kind of like one of those little backpack purses. Throw all the positive energy all the way and good days. Always appreciate it, Cole. Demand a picture later. I'll probably send you a picture. It's got some scuffs just because I've been carrying it everywhere for months. But I feel like that is just the way of the purse that has had a long lifespan. Because my mom actually owned it for years and she just never got around to carrying it. Granted, she preferred, like, more of the big duffel bag style purses over backpack purses. She'd only carry those every once in a while. And eventually she started carrying, like, a small purse and then also carrying a backpack because she got super into having her journals and pins and stuff with her and stickers. So she liked having her extra backpack in the car in case, like, we went to a restaurant or something. She could do, like, some journal stuff and just sit down and chill with it. Also, I completely forgot. I was cleaning, and there's this shelf, like, against the wall on, like, the other side of my room. And I turned to the side for a minute, because I saw Dot walking by. And I had completely forgotten that I had, on my little notebook of, like, my Pokemon cards, I had put a Groudon, it's a, Primal Groudon figure. And I had just set it on top of the notebook. And I turned to the side and I got jump scared with like Groudon just staring right at me. Speaking of Pokemon and purses, I paid my friends GF at the time to make a mini Game Boy thing with Spoink in Resign. Mom loves Spoink. Oh, that's cool. It is cool to hear that at least one of your parents likes Pokemon, or at least some a little bit of the nerd/video game stuff. I'm very happy and very lucky that my mom liked. Not only did she like games and anime, but she would actually have different tastes than me, so she wasn't just like latching on to whatever I liked. Because there are a lot of games that she really liked that I was kind of neutral on. Like she got Dishonored when it came out, and she got really into it, and she ended up buying BioShock and BioShock Infinite specifically because she wanted more games like Dishonored. And so she actually looked up a thing of like games if you like Dishonored, and she's like writing them all down, and she ended up buying the BioShock games after watching some trailers. Which, like, I didn't necessarily hate any of those games or anything, but I was super neutral on them. I will say, like, after playing through the first game and Infinite, I do not get the BioShock hype. Like, I don't think they're bad games or anything, but I don't know why people were talking about them like they were these, like, world-changing, whoa, omega crazy. It's just like, there's some pretty good first-person action games. They've definitely got cool aesthetics. Boy, the BioShock fandom's gonna cook me alive. I'm so sorry, BioShock enjoyers. Don't take it personally. But my mom definitely liked them a lot, especially Infinite, because she had a thing on, she had like her own special shelf with a lot of witchy stuff on it, but she would also rotate her collection of like toys and figures to display. So for quite a while, she had Booker and Elizabeth Funkos on her shelf. And I know you can make jokes about Funko Pops if you want to, but the thing is, like, my mom did not give a shit about online discourse, but she did love toys and collectibles. And she'd go for a lot of, you know, toys and stuff. She thought Nindoroids were cool, and she liked Amiibos, but she also happened to like Funkos because she just liked anything she thought was cool, and she didn't give a shit. Mom apparently really enjoys Sonic, and I know she likes Dig Dug. Hell yeah. Does she know the protagonist of Dig Dug got married and divorced? I'm kidding. Probably don't tell her that. So I about died one day when I saw a TikTok comment somebody left, and the TikTok was about an NES game, and the comment was, "Oh, I remember playing this when I was little. It was my grandma's favorite game," and I'm like, please stop. Which, like, that's not too far-fetched for somebody who's an adult in, you know, the 90s or something, or the 2000s, to have their NES, but I'm just like, come the fuck on. Rapid aging. I mean, also, there is something I think about. My mom had a friend who, had her first kid at 16. Said kid had her first kid at 16. So she was a grandmother at 32. Ah! I can't even imagine myself being a mom when I was 32, much less a grandmother. I mean, granted, 32 wasn't that long ago, but, like, still. I don't know, though, like, even though I had an NES when I was little, because, you know, my mom, I mentioned before, I think, that my mom bought one off of a college buddy, not the same friend who had the grandkid at 32, but she had bought her NES off a college buddy, so, you know, I had an NES, I had, Super Mario Bros. Duck Hunt, Felix the Cat, Kirby's Adventure, and I got some other games like the Mega Man games and stuff later, but it's like, I don't really have a really strong fondness for the NES. I don't dislike it or anything. There are a lot of NES games I like, but it's not a system that I sit there like, you know, daydreaming about that much or anything, aside from certain specific games. Because my big love of video games really started with the Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis. I think especially the Super Nintendo is probably the system, you know, that, and then going into like the PS1 and then the Game Boy and then the Pokemon games and stuff is really what made me just like a lifelong video game enthusiast. I still remember even as a really, really little kid, you know, first getting my Super Nintendo, just poring over issues of Nintendo Power, because like I feel like my mom definitely spotted the video game special interest from a very young age because she nurtured it. She would encourage me to take breaks. She'd come bother me to make sure that I was like eating and drinking enough and stuff. Bother you is very funny. Well, no, I mean, like, she would come in there and she'd be like, hey, did you eat yet? Did you eat yet? Did you eat yet? Did you eat yet? Did you get something to eat? Did you get something to drink? Did you get something to eat? You have to go to the bathroom? Make sure you get up and go to the bathroom. Because the thing is, like, my mom, if she needed to make me take care of myself, she would intentionally get annoying as hell. And, you know, I distinctly remember her saying to me at one point, I'm a middle child. That means I've been in both an older sister and a younger sister. I know how to annoy the hell out of somebody. Alright, everybody grab your favorite sugar-free, caffeine-free beverage of choice. Got my water tumbler right here. And take a nice big sippy. That is some good mizu. Get that tongue nice and moist, everybody. I want your tongues moist and agile. My bottle's so far away, are you here yet? I'm almost there, Maddie, I promise. Nice sip of Baja Blasted Sweet Tea. Cole, that is not a drink, that is a cup of sugar. A Baja Blast your sweet tea. Also, Cole, that is just about the most southeastern American drink I could possibly imagine. Unless you're gonna, like, mix in a little bit of Surge from 2001. Same diff, old lady. Ah. That is quite the gift, Cole. I don't know if I'm actually earning more experience doing it this way or if I should just go back to Blackthorn City. Because I feel like I'm running into exponentially more Golbats than Gravelers. Got any purple stuff? Yeah, it's right next to the Easy Squirt. Fighting with every fiber of my being not to make the really obvious Easy Squirt joke. Hi, Liz.
Good evening, Mutts. This is Liz. Are you awake? Listen, listen. You know about Moo Moo Milk? You can buy it at Moo Moo Farm. It's supposed to be good for health and beauty. I really want to try some. I bet it's delicious. Okay, I'll call you later. Thank you, Liz.
Easy Squirt's such a funny but unfortunate name. I mean, hey, listen, handsome. 2 minutes is all I need, okay? Got 2 minutes to kill, and I really like staring at ceilings. I'm playing Mario Kart and World and just driving around. To make me think of this, I'm not a huge fan of desert areas in games. I've noticed how many desert areas spread across the map there is. Like, any direction you choose leads to a desert or canyon. It's like going to the Midwest. Yeah, like, I understand why that is, because I'm pretty sure with Mario Kart World they have to integrate, like, all the tracks into the open world and stuff. But yeah, I can definitely see why that can be obnoxious. Are you Easy Squirt? Because it comes out pretty easy when you put both hands on it. Someone in the Midwest, more empty flat fields. See, that's how you know America fell off. It used to be the Wild West, and now they call it the Midwest. Flatfield Friday. Just a huge patch of chain restaurants and telephone poles of varying functionality. Yeah, love living in suburban areas where there are a lot of things, but they're all just far enough apart to where walking to them is not practical. Fucking love that. That's why I want public transportation. Like, comment, and subscribe for more Jorkin' It Geodude. It is always super funny to me how chain restaurants will pop up in, like you said, patches. Because, like, around where I live, for the longest time, there was, like, a Wendy's and not much else restaurant-wise. And then there was, like, they added a McDonald's onto the gas station that eventually, like, the McDonald's moved to its own building. And then it, like, they kept rotating restaurants, but then there was, like, the Subway popped up. Not a transportation Subway, the sandwich Subway. And now there's, like, a Bojangles and a KFC and they just put in a Zaxby's. And it's so funny to me because aside from like McDonald's and Burger King, almost all of these places are just chicken. There's even like smaller places and they're just chicken, and like I like chicken nuggets and stuff, but it's so funny to me that we have so many similar restaurants. Like the Bojangles and KFC are like across the street from each other. You could go to one and walk to the other in a couple minutes. There's a cat rescue place you can volunteer that just opened at the end of my neighborhood, and I'd love to volunteer. But I live deep near the end of that neighborhood, where it'd just be too far away to walk, and I'm bummed out about it. Damn, I'm sorry. Because honestly, that would be great job experience for you. Because you could say that, oh, you know, like I wasn't employed, but I did volunteer work, so you kind of be used to the structure of working. You need to turn autocorrect back on. Well, the thing is, love is a real word. Remember that, chat. Love is a real word. So I don't know if it would have even autocorrected it, because, like, that, and sometimes for me, autocorrect will correct real words into other real words, but I mean the first one. I'm super tired, which does not help. Yeah. I'm probably not going to stream for too much longer. I kind of wanted to, because I figured it'd be a shorter stream tonight. I started later, and I'm still pretty out of it. But I kind of wanted to get Sour Patch to a Dragonite tonight, but I feel like that's not happening because it takes a lot of experience for this cutie to level up. Let's get her to level 47, and then we'll probably call it there. I'm trying to think. I feel like there's a daily thing I forgot to do, because I got Buena's password. Sour Patch is still a kid. But I got Buena's password. I battled Cal and Viridian. I got most of my regular berry spots. I got a haircut for my Chansey. Grabbed the balls. Yeah, I grabbed Kurt's balls. Because one thing I was thinking about, and I don't know how you guys would feel about this, is like, I know my usual stream time is right around 4 hours, but I was thinking about like doing more streams, but like more 2-hour streams. Like maybe on the days I work at Job, I could just do short streams after I get home, and then save longer streams for like my days when I don't have to go there. Bug catching contest. I don't really need to do that anymore because I don't really need any more sunstones, and I've already caught all the Pokemon. Thank you for remembering that, though. I do appreciate it. But yeah, I've caught all the budget contest. English. I've caught all the bug catching contest mons already. Like I said, it's something I only go when I need to farm more sunstones, but we've got Blossom and we've got Sunflora already. Actually, now that I think about it, hey Maddie, if I could borrow your Super Pokemon Autism Brain, is there anything else that ever evolved with a Sunstone? Besides those two? I feel like there was at least one other that I'm forgetting about it. Is it like... Is it Lilligant? Because I think Whimsicott evolves with the Leaf Stone. Is it really only those three? I mean, one thing I definitely appreciate is that from, I think, Generation 8 onward, they changed a bunch of Pokemon that require a weird location to just be a stone evolution. Because I know now you can evolve Magneton into Magnezone with a Thunderstone. You can evolve Nosepass with a Thunderstone. Togetech's a Shiny Stone. Whimsicott, Helioptile, that's the one I couldn't think of. I had a vibe like there was one that was not a grass type that used the Sunstone, so Helioptile, thank you. But yeah, like they changed, I'm so happy that they changed Leafeon and Glaceon to just evolve with the Leaf Stone and Ice Stone, especially because like, I remember as a kid playing Red and Blue, I always thought it was weird that, like, Eevee could use every one of the stones you could buy except the Leaf Stone. Though, the name that me and my friends came up with at the time for the evolution was Flareon. Though Leafeon probably is a better name, definitely. Because, like, as much as I gripe about the Gen 4 evolutions, I love Leafeon and Glaceon so much. I've especially got a really big fondness for Leafeon because I've been kind of doing an on and off playthrough of Shield, and I decided to add a Leafeon to my team, and it has been super fun. Also, did you know Leafeon's base attack is really freaking high? It's got like 110 base attack and I think 130 special defense. Wait, is it special defense or regular defense that's Leafeon's highest stat? I'm trying to remember. So no, Vaporeon's got the 130 in HP, Flareon's got the 130 in attack, Jolteon's got the 130 in speed. I think Umbreon's got the 130 in special defense, and Espeon's got the 130 in special attack. Doesn't cover stats, I know. I'm more just musing this out loud to myself. I mean, if I wanted to, I could just go to Cerebi or Bulbapedia and just look it up. Which I'm gonna do. Oh hey, my phone's actually at 100%. I remembered to plug my phone in while I was streaming, you guys. I deserve at least one kiss on the forehead. Imagine walking around with an unkissed forehead. Just a terrible way to live your life. There you are, Leafeon number 470. Yeah, Leafeon's got the 130 in defense, 110 in attack, and 95 speed. Also has Chlorophyll as a hidden ability. Because Sylveon has the 130 in special defense and 110 in special attack. Here, let's see here. And yeah, Umbreon's got 130 in special defense and 110 in defense, so Umbreon is a tank. So full of Chloros. Glad Leafeon's eating well. I am too. Though the Eevee evolutions all having the same stats, but in different places, I think is just something that's super fun. I think Flareon's issue is not necessarily from being bad, because I mean, like, they eventually gave it Flare Blitz, but I think the big issue is that I feel like Electric and Fire just don't have a lot of good physical moves in general that aren't exclusive to like a legendary or something. You know, after spending time playing Fire Red on stream and Leaf Green in my own downtime, boy, do I really wish the Versus Seeker was in this game. I mean, I do like the match call feature and stuff. It's fun, but I feel like the rematch calls happen so infrequently, they're just not a reliable way to gain EXP. Also, this is a completely random thing, but I do actually think it's fascinating with Pokemon, especially, like, you know, prior to, like, Generation 6 where everything got 3D and stuff, well, even a little bit after then, is just how much depth and gameplay they managed to create on something that can be controlled with, like, 4 buttons and a D-pad. And hell, Generation 1 barely uses the select button, so it's really like 3 buttons and a D-pad. Because in Gen 1, all you really use the select button for is in the item menu or the move menu in battle. You can change your moves up, because the whole thing with having a key item hotkeyed to the select button is actually something that they added in Gen 2. So while it might be inconvenient or a little disorganized, you can feasibly play through all of Gen 1 without the select button. And it's like, I definitely understand needing more complicated controllers to navigate 3D space in a video game. But like I said, it's still fascinating to me how minimal you can make the interface and still have such a deep and fully fledged game. Because that's the thing, is like, even when the Pokemon games came out, like Red and Blue, and especially with Gold, Silver, and Crystal, yeah, they were on the Game Boy, and this is like, both of these were available after the PlayStation and Sega Saturn were out. And, you know, people were already talking about the Dreamcast and stuff coming up. But the Pokemon games never felt like they were of a lower quality. They never felt like they were behind the times or a throwback or anything. Despite releasing on the Game Boy, they still felt like full-fledged RPGs that you'd be playing right alongside Final Fantasy VII and Paper Mario and stuff like that. I don't know if Paper Mario is the best example, because it's kind of designed to be simpler, but I was trying to think of a non-PS1 RPG. But you'd still be playing beside Final Fantasy VII and Breath of Fire 3 and Legend of Legaia and, you know, all the other big RPGs from that day. And I mean, I know I've mentioned this before, but in a lot of ways, Gold and Silver and Crystal feel a little bit farther beyond other RPGs of their day, despite being on the Game Boy, by just having things like the real-time clock and daily events and all that stuff. Because that feels like something much more akin to a modern video game than something that's like 26 years old. Because I admit, even though Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald do have a timekeeping thing, it's nowhere near as expansive as Gold, Silver, and Crystal, and I always did feel like that was a step backward. As much as I mumble and grumble about Sinnoh, I do appreciate it bringing back the real-time clock feature, even if it was a little bit of an inevitability. Bleh. Just from the fact that, you know, the DS had the real-time clock built in, so the cartridge didn't have to do anything special.
Good evening, Mots. It's me, Wade. Are you awake? I found all kinds of berries. If you want, I'll share some with you. I'll be waiting on Route 31.
Thank you, Wade. Okay, so, like, if we were making an anime about my Pokemon character here, who do you think your two traveling companions would be? Like, out of the people we, like, get match calls and stuff from. I kind of feel like Wade would be one of them. It'd be cool to have, like, a character in the main character rotation who was totally focused on bug Pokemon. Maybe Dana. I was thinking about Dana, too. Yeah, I actually kind of like that vibe and layout if it's just like Wade and Dana. Especially because like Wade would have a little bit of the little brother energy and stuff like that. Not in an annoying way, but just like with that guy who always gets killed by Quillfish and one of their dads or something. I could definitely see that maybe being like Dana's dad. Or maybe Wade's, because he does, like, I think it's Ralph, talks about having a son who also trains Pokemon, so in this canon, Wade can be Ralph's son. He's always like, but son, you gotta learn the wonders of water Pokemon. He's like, but Dad, I love bugs. Because Ralph's, like, down here at the docks and stuff, so, like, maybe they both live in Violet City. He just likes to go fishing, while Wade's over here, catching, like, more bugs and stuff and training up his Caterpie and Weedle. And of course, like, I have these wonderful little, like, scenes and scenarios in my head and stuff of, like, the three of us busting up, you know, like, Team Rocket, like, at the radio tower or whatever. And, like, Wade with his Butterfree, like, blowing away a bunch of, like, Grimers and Rattatas that the Rockets are throwing out at him. And I'm pretty sure Dana has, like, Psyduck and Ampharos, so, like, you know, a lot of that fun writes itself, too. But it's like, okay, like, you know how in the early season anime and stuff, like, even though Brock was technically the rock-type gym leader, he got a lot of non-rock-type Pokemon, like Vulpix and stuff. So, like, maybe, like, with Wade a little later on, you know, his dad actually catches one of the Quillfish he's always going on about, and so, like, he gifts it to Wade, so Wade has, like, Quillfish on his team. Or if they wanted to do that thing where they're like doing cross-generational promotions, it's like, I finally caught a Quillfish for you, big guy. It's like, but Dad, I've been over this. I'm only really interested in bug types. Like, well, this one's special. It's a weird color. It looks a little different from the other Quillfish. But I think you'll take good care of it, okay? Okay, Dad, I guess I can take it with me. And it ends up being like, somehow a Hisuian Quillfish ended up in Johto or something. And that'd be like the debut of Overquill before Legends Arceus comes out. As they tend to do. Yeah. And that's one of those things with like with Scarlet and Violet, it's just, yeah, like I said, sometimes in real life a presumed extinct animal just pops up. Because I love just the concept in Scarlet and Violet, since there are occasional Hisuian Pokemon in the game, of just, you know, this thought to be extinct animal from 1800s Japan just shows up in Spain one day, just because. But it's like, that is an actual thing that just happens in real life. It happened with coelacanths. I think, like, in the late 2000s, if I recall correctly. Like, they thought coelacanths were extinct for, like, thousands and thousands of years. Blueberry Academy, there's a whole population of Hisuian Quillfish, yeah. Though thinking of Scarlet and Violet, that also made me think about the fact that, like, a Pokemon I'd like to use in a playthrough sometime soon is Kilowattrel. I feel like that's a really cool Pokemon, and there just aren't enough electric flying types. Granted, I feel like Kilowattrel would have been a little more exciting in a game where you still needed your own Pokemon to use Fly. I'm not necessarily saying I miss HMs or that I want them to come back in modern games, but I feel like roll compression was a little more interesting with the adventure aspect, if that makes sense. Because, like, I thought it was really fun in my Silver playthrough using Lantern, because I had my Surf user and an Electric type in one Pokemon. So that freed up more slots to diversify my team type-wise. That and one thing I feel like I forget to do with Pokemon rolls is to not just be like, oh, Fire type, Water type, Gas type, Flying type. You know, it's like actually have them have roles as like, you know, like having Meganium have like support moves and be a little tankier. Or have Pokemon that exist just to like sweep. Because the thing is, you can overlevel so much when you're playing the main story that it's really easy to gravitate toward having a team of just 6 sweepers. Which, okay, for people unfamiliar with the competitive terminology, Sweeper is just a Pokemon with high speed that could easily wipe out other Pokemon in 1 or 2 hits. Especially if it gets powered up with something like Swords Dance or Dragon Dance or something. But, you know, a lot of times the single-player playthrough is mostly one-on-one fights. I remember this autistic moment when I think it was 5th grade when suddenly perked up at the mention of coelacanths, raised my hand excitedly and asked if I could go to book. I had something that showed what it looked like. I ran to get it, held it with both hands, and the back glass listed, Coelacanth! and I was the kid who never talked. I mean, I feel like most kids who quotation marks never talk is because they never get a chance to talk about something they're actually interested in. I think one of the craziest thing, though, as I've learned more about, like, ocean creatures and underwater stuff, is how much less fictional a lot of Pokemon designs are than I thought they were. That and stuff like umbrella squids don't even feel like they're real. They feel like they're made up for a cartoon. No idea what happened after. Zero fear of doing that's crazy looking back. Your fear was overridden by the love of Coelacanth. Actually, Relicanth is a Pokemon I'd love to use in a playthrough, but it's cursed to being another one of those water types that you can only get after you have Surf. Well, actually, Surf and Dive. Because, like, you can kind of fake it with Surf by teaching it to something like a Nidoking or Rhydon or, like, Linoon or something. But with Dive, I'm pretty sure there is no... Off the top of my head, I don't think there are any non-water types that can learn Dive except, like, Mew. Vampire Squid? Yeah, they're cool. Them looking terrifying but being shy and gentle is super cute to me. Gathmoe. I weirdly like Huntail, even though they're never using them. I actually really dig Huntail and Gorbis also. They're such a chore, though, because, again, first of all, Clamperl is a water type you can only get when you have Surf and Dive, and you have to get a special item and trade to get either of its evolutions. And I feel like most kids at the time, and definitely people now, ain't doing that. I mean, I probably could, simply on the fact that I still have multiple working Game Boy Advances and a link cable and physical copies of the game. Be shocked if Clamperl isn't in Wind and Waves. It'd be cool if it was. I hope if it is, it's actually available early in-game and you can get the item fairly early. Also, still mildly irritated that Legends Arceus introduced the linking cord and then as an item to just have an item to evolve trade Pokemon, and then it just disappeared after that game. Like, I understand maybe the mainline games wanting to still encourage trading because they have multiple versions. But, like, it is a little irritating that the linking cord wasn't in Z8 either. Of course, like, my thing for the mainline games for handling the linking cord, my personal way I would do it, is have it in the game, but have the linking cord not be available until post-game. That way, like, you're still encouraging trading if you want your Golem or Alakazam or whatever while you're doing your main playthrough. But if you're somebody who doesn't necessarily have the means to be able to trade with somebody else, then you still have an option. Clamperl is also one that barely feels like a Pokemon. Huntail and Gorbis less so. Like, Huntail and Gorbis feel less like Pokemon, or more like a Pokemon than Clamperl. I apologize, the syntax I don't think is hitting my brain properly. Huntail and Gorbis, to me, have less of that barely feels real stretch, meaning they feel more real. I gotcha. I really do like Gorbis a lot, though. I think it's super pretty. Granted, I think it also both of them run into the issue, not just of being water types that aren't available until after you have Surf. Wormonasting. It definitely has Wormonasting. Trying to learn Safeguard. I don't know. I guess I'll put it over Twister. I mean, yeah, it's Dragon type Stab, but it's not really that useful anymore. Shit, I was gonna say something and I lost track. Give me a sec. Okay. Clamperl's evolutions not only suffer from water types you can't get till after you have Surf, but I feel like they also contribute to the Generation 1 through 4 issue of there just being so damn many water types, and so many of them just being pure water. Because even though I know Gorbis learns some psychic attacks and stuff, I'm pretty sure both are just pure water. It's like, I feel like that's part of the reason my Finneon gets lost in the shuffle a lot, too. Because, you know, again, it is a pure water type. I am happily using a Finneon in my Platinum playthrough, though. Huntail might have been Water Dark if Sharpedo and Crawdon weren't that also. Yeah, I feel that. Can't wait to show up in Elite Four with Mothim, Huntail, Maractus, Bruxish, Basculin, and Lumineon. Based as hell, honestly. I unironically love Maractus, by the way. I think it's super cute, and I would like to use one in a black and white playthrough at some point. Tropius is another one I think is really cool, and I would love to use that I never have before. See, my problem playing Ruby and Sapphire and Emerald when I was younger is Oddish. The Oddish line is basically like my favorite grass type. So on non-Sceptile playthroughs, I just could not resist the Siren Song of Oddish. Well, that and Roselia was there too, and I thought Roselia was super cool, and you can catch it earlier. Seeing Tropius in Wind and Waves made me very happy. I really want Tropius to get an Evo or a Mega. I would love for it to get something, because Tropius is way too cool to just be there. Just, that's it. I mean, I don't think this will happen, but I would love it if after ZA we're just not doing weird generational transformations and we can just stick with Megas at this point and have that be the norm in the series. Because I know other people don't feel this way now, but I always felt like them stopping Megas would be like if when Generation 4 came out, they just said, yeah, we're not doing abilities anymore. That was just a Gen 3 thing. Or, you know, it's like when Gen 5 came out, they would have been like, oh, yeah, we went back to physical and special being decided on types. The physical special split, that was just a Gen 4 thing. Tropius baby, that's it. Yeah, actually Tropius getting the Roselia treatment would be rad as hell. No, see what we do is Tropius gets a baby, it gets an evolved form, and then the new Tropius evolution gets a Mega. About to get tropical as fuck up in this bitch. It gets a split Evo based on a banana split. Ayo. It gets a evolution that has a coconut bra. Then Gorbis and the new Tropius evolution can be Boulder Holder besties.
New coconut bra item. There's only one in the game and you can't get any more. Don't do that. I think it's funny that I usually like tropical regions. Hoenn, Alola, new region are very vibey. You see, that's why, because like Sinnoh's cold and lame, so you want to go to someplace warm and comfy. I'm kidding, Sinnoh isn't lame, but I don't have a follow-up, I'm sorry. I don't think I could survive a warmer tropical climate, so I'll settle for experiencing them secondhand with Pokemon involved. I definitely would not like that. As much as I complain when the weather gets cold, I really do not like being hot. I like my cold places. To be honest, I'm a polar bear when it comes to preferred temp. Hear that, everybody? Cole is a bear. Probably gives amazing hugs. Bear that in mind, everyone. Wait, is that why you had the bee girl GF? Because you're a bear out there looking for honeys? Love frigid temperatures too. Because I don't know necessarily if I like being frigid, but I like being able to cuddle under blankie. Nodders.
It's hip to fuck bees.
I run way too hot to be comfy in any temperature that wouldn't kill a tropical palm. Fair enough. Kind of funny, this might be why I gravitate towards Space Burrs in Yu-Gi-Oh! My thing with Yu-Gi-Oh! And why I don't really keep up super close with the trading card game, aside from like peripherally watching like SEMO videos and stuff, is because like I found out that most of what I liked in Yu-Gi-Oh! Was just being able to do stuff from the manga. And that definitely doesn't help that Konami had this weird thing early on. They changed this later, but early on, they would nerf the cards from the manga to the point where they were barely playable, and then they would come up with their own original card with a less interesting design that was exponentially more powerful and or did the thing from the manga that they nerfed on the manga card. And it's just like, I'm so sorry, but early on it had the energy of like, you know, this is my OC who's actually a Super Saiyan 5 and could beat Goku and Vegeta at the same time. Which, now that I joke, is basically what all the movie villains are. Wow, so strong. When you say beat both of them. And I'll be beating Super Saiyans off with both hands.
In the Geodude way, yes. What do you mean? Imagine being mad at me. I'm just a little Cubchoo. I mean, I'm a tiny little mouse. We can all be very, very small and cute together. I'm some secret third thing. You're a raccoon, which, using knowledge from Super Mario Bros. 3, means that you can fly. Maddie, did you ever get your your water bottle? Please consume Mizu. Yay, I'll go test that. No. Okay, did I? If I remembered, do you think I'd be asking? Hey, it froze Maddie's water. Well, if it's frozen, I guess you just have to let it go. I did bring it to you, Maddie. It's just that I got distracted when I got there and I put it back down on the table it started on. I'll drink ice. It's cold. It's cool. Literally. It's interesting. I do tend to actually, even though I don't particularly like cold weather, I do tend to have an affinity for ice-type Pokemon. Like, I really like Cryogonal. Took a sip both times. Okay, good. Just making sure you are getting hydrated. Yeah, I really like Cryogonal, and it makes me super sad that every time anyone brings up Cryogonal, it's only to talk about how forgettable it is. It's like, no, it's not. Cryogonal's cool and fun, and it's got little chains, and it looks wicked and badass. Okay, got my water tumbler. Grab your favorite sugar-free, non-carbonated beverage, everybody. My water tumbler is almost empty. That's okay, though. I'm probably going to be ending pretty soon. Cryogonal's a freak. Affectionate. Yes. Okay, I kid you not. I've mentioned before that from every game from Black and White onward, I would play it as blind as I possibly could. So I think the only Pokemon I had seen from Gen 5 were in Nintendo Power. They were like the base forms of the 3 starters. Like Gothitelle, Reuniclus, I think like Patrat, Pidove, and the box legendaries. Aurorus and Crabominable. I have opinions on Crabominable, but I'm getting there. Said when, yeah, level 47, I think she is, oh. Well, I guess we're going to level 48, oops. I couldn't remember if I said 48 or 47, so I just kept yapping, because that's what I do. The mouse who yaps. Okay, well, we'll get her to 48, which is probably going to be either this fight or the next one. I do quite like... I've gotten a strong liking to Baxcalibur and its evolutions. Okay, she is at 48. Partially on the fact that there's an NPC in Legends ZA that has a whole side quest where she has a Frigibax that's shy, and she looks startlingly like me. Also, I started playing a Frigibax, or Arctibax, Baxcalibur deck in PCG Pocket as well, so. Hi, Dot. Sneefa. But no, like, when I played Pokemon Black for the first time, seeing Cryogonal, I actually went like a whoa seeing it for the first time, just because I thought it was that cool. All I gotta do is move to Paris. I mean, that would probably be safer for me. Actually, it probably wouldn't, because those mushrooms would take over my brain eventually. But alright, thank you so much, you guys, for coming by and hanging out with me for a little while to play some Crystal and grind up and chill and vibe. Ow, stop. Dot slapped my microphone and muted it. What are you doing, bud? Alrighty, everybody, have a wonderful rest of your evening. No, she won't kill me, she'll just get snuggled a lot. But you guys have a good one. Bye!